Welcome to Buddha's teaching. Have you ever wished you could read someone's mind? Imagine being able to understand what someone is thinking just by observing them. Today, we're diving into an ancient Buddhist tale that holds the secret to this fascinating ability. In this story, a blind man teaches us three powerful techniques to read minds, skills that can help you understand anyone's thoughts, intentions, and emotions. Stay tuned as we uncover this captivating wisdom from the past. Let's get started. In a small village long ago, there were two brothers. The older brother was blind, and the younger one was a farmer. The younger brother faced a constant problem. Animals were ruining their crops. One day, he came up with an idea. He thought, why not ask my blind brother to help scare away the animals? He believed that his brother could sit in the fields, listen for the animals, and shout to scare them away. The younger brother built a small hut in the field for his blind brother. He explained, if you hear any animals, just shout, and they'll run away. The blind brother agreed and began his watch. Every time he heard animals, he would shout, effectively keeping them away. This method worked well for many days. One day, a deer ran through the field, breaking the fence, and shortly after, a king who was chasing the deer arrived. The king noticed the blind man and asked, have you seen a deer pass by? The blind brother replied, Your Majesty, I am blind. I can't see a deer. But I can tell you, the animal you're chasing is not worth your time. The king, surprised by this statement, asked, How do you know this? The blind brother calmly explained, The deer you're chasing is a pregnant doe. A wise king like you shouldn't waste time hunting a pregnant animal. The king was baffled. How could a blind man know this? He decided to test the blind brother's claim and ordered his commander to capture the animal. When the commander returned, he confirmed that the deer was indeed a pregnant doe. The king was amazed and puzzled, wanting to know how the blind man could be so certain. Impressed but still skeptical, the king asked the blind man another question. Tell me, is my wife faithful to me? The blind brother responded, Your Majesty, why would you doubt her after all these years? The king insisted, threatening punishment if he didn't answer. The blind brother requested to be left alone with the queen in a room. The king, though initially angry, agreed. Inside the room, the blind brother asked to touch the queen, to which she reacted with rage, hitting him in anger. After escaping, the blind brother told the king, Your wife is not faithful. The king, now furious, confronted the queen, who admitted the truth. The king, shocked but trusting the blind brother, asked, How did you know? The blind man replied, Your Majesty, when I asked to touch her, she could have simply refused. Instead, she lashed out violently, revealing her inner turmoil. A faithful person wouldn't react that way. The king, still curious, asked another question, Am I truly my father's son? The blind brother replied, I can answer, but promise me you won't get angry. The king agreed. The blind brother said, You are indeed your father's son, but you also carry the shadow of a miserly merchant. The king, perplexed, asked his mother, who confirmed the blind man's words. Returning to the blind brother, the king asked, How did you know? The blind man replied, I observed your actions. Despite answering all your questions correctly, I received no reward. This behavior indicated to me that you have inherited the traits of a miser. The king, now fully trusting the blind brother, asked, How do you know what people are thinking? The blind brother explained, There are three techniques to understand anyone's thoughts: observing the eyes, reading facial expressions, and interpreting body language. First, focus on the eyes. The eyes reveal much without speaking. Notice where a person looks, if they avoid eye contact, or if their pupils change size. For example, dilated pupils can indicate excitement or interest, while constricted pupils might suggest discomfort or anger. Second, pay attention to facial expressions. A person's face is like an open book. A genuine smile reaches the eyes, showing true happiness. A furrowed brow might indicate confusion or concern. By understanding these subtle cues, you can gauge a person's emotions and thoughts. Lastly, observe body language. People express their thoughts through gestures and movements. For instance, crossed arms can signify defensiveness, while leaning forward often shows interest and engagement. A person tapping their fingers might be impatient or nervous. By mastering these 3 techniques, eyes, facial expressions, and body language, you can understand what someone is thinking. But first, you must focus on your own mind, staying present and attentive. Only then can you truly read the silent language of others. And that brings us to the end of our journey today. Remember, understanding others starts with understanding yourself. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of mind and perception. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more insightful tales and lessons.